Hey everyone, welcome back to Notes to Self. My name is Melanie.
And I'm Corey.
That's it. That's all we get.
Husband.
If you don't know who we are, we were both born and raised in a polygamous church here in Utah called the AUB, or the Apostolic United Brethren. I was raised with 4 mothers, 34 brothers and sisters.
My dad had 9 wives. Yeah, my mind. My dad had 9 wives and 39 kids up in a compound up in Pinesdale, Montana. And when I was born into the AUB, it was called the Allred Group. It's just recently been.
Yeah. Well, it's always been the AUB. Did you know that?
We
just didn't know that it was the AUB.
What it was called.
It was called the group, the work, the Allred Group. But it's always been AUB, and isn't it incorporated or something like that?
Yeah.
But anyways, that's who we are. So we have been watching Sister Wives for the very first time. We're on season 4, episode 2. We watched it a few days ago and tried to make a recording, but then there's been a lot of craziness going on in the world. So feel free to check out some of our previous videos that we made about what's gone on this last weekend. But we first of all want to encourage everybody to do their healing work. Yep. So if you are a human with a human body, then you have experienced some level of human trauma. So we encourage everybody to take the time now to find a healing modality that works for you and start right away, because you deserve to be loved deeper, and so do the people you love. They deserve to be loved deeper.
Yep.
So we we're on season 4, episode 2. Thank you for everyone who sent us snips of this episode. We were never able to find the full episode, but we did find almost like back-to-back clips on TikTok that we were able to watch
to piece it together.
Yeah. So there's a channel on TikTok that one of you guys sent us. Thank you so much, because we were able to go just we had to watch the show 3 minutes at a time. But it was an interesting one. We don't know the name of the episode because that was never on TikTok. So I just wrote down Cody dates his wives. So because it's basically an episode where Cody goes on a date with each one of the wives. We start the episode out where Cody buys a new car.
Sports car.
Yeah, a convertible. It's
to take care of his many wives and children.
Yeah. Because you can take children in that car. What's funny is so many of you guys have asked us, is it normal for a polygamous man to have a convertible? It isn't. Most people I know do not. Do the polygamous men drive nicer cars than their wives and their children? Absolutely, because nothing says a responsible priesthood holder like sending your wife out in a beater minivan that could break down on the road with all your children in it.
Most polygamous men have really nice trucks.
Mm-hmm. So they're blue-collar workers.
Yeah, so they can show, hey, I'm working. I've got a truck full of tools, and I'm out on the job taking care of my family. So it's nicer, bigger truck means you've got a better. But there were a few men within the AUB that had sports cars, but it usually had dealership plates on it.
They worked
because they were car salesmen. So,
that's funny. Yeah, so it's kind of, to me, it feels a little disgusting to watch this man with his expensive watches, his expensive jewelry, his expensive cars. I mean, to each their own, but then don't have 18 children if that's what you want to do. So he pulls up in what?
Well, I'm just impressed. He has 18 children and still doing that. So I can see having 2 or 3 kids and
then buying it.
But yeah, and
it's a luxury item. It's a luxury.
But yeah, you're still raising kids, still. Yeah.
But still, none of the wives have nicer cars like that. They all have drive these. Well, from what we've seen so far.
Eventually they do, but that's because they've been out working to get their own vehicles.
Right. TLC money doesn't get to pay for them to have a convertible.
Is my assumption.
Right.
They all tend to get reasonable vehicles.
Right. So then they're all talking about, oh, Cody went and bought himself this convertible. It's a date night car. I'm like, do you want to make out in the same back seat that your sister wife made out with your husband in? I don't want to. I mean, do you want to have sex in the back seat of a convertible? Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe they just do it on the hood of cars. I don't know. But that feels a little bit, I don't know if I'd want to, because then the whole time I'd be making out, I'd be like, well, does he have good memories with the other girl in this car? So I think it's a little silly.
I think the car was to probably try to show that we're doing very well And so we're open and available for more wives at this point in time. So,
God, I hope good thing he never did take any more wives. So he talks about how he has what?
Good thing he fell in love.
Oh yeah, that stopped him right in his tracks. He stopped doing all that. But he talks about how he has a whole family, but then he has 4 individual relationships with each one of the wives, which, has always been my experience too. Some relationships thrive, obviously, like we've seen, more than other relationships thrive. But then he talks about how, they have date nights. I wrote the rules always change, but I can't remember why I wrote that down. But he talks about having, basically, now that the wives don't live together, he's got 4 monogamous families trying to live a plural family. And that is very true. When the husband is not around, you have single moms raising children. You have and then of course you come in and you do date night with one of those wives. What happens to the quality time with your children? It's impossible to get that with all of your children. There's just not enough hours in the day in order to nourish and nurture those relationships. So we start out with him and Mary. They're going skiing. And which is really, we thought it was kind of weird because we live in Utah, and has she never been skiing before? Like, everybody has gone skiing or snowboarding or something in Utah. So I was really surprised because I think in the show, in this season, she's in her 40s and she's just trying to go skiing for the first time. Maybe she's late 30s, early 40s. But here in Utah, in the 5th grade, when you're in the 5th grade, however old you are, I'm not sure how old you are, then I think you're 10 or 11, you can go for the entire full year for free. And it's to get the locals all up on the ski resorts because, it can get kind of pricey to go skiing. It's a pretty expensive sport now. Back in the day, it wasn't that, what do you call it?
Yeah.
Because I said it was sport.
No, back in the day it was. Yeah. Well, back in the day it was pricey too, but it was like $5 for a day pass or $15 if you rented for us.
Yeah.
So, but that was still pricey once we got our own equipment. But we lived in Montana, and that was one of our winter sports things that we did. So we learned when we were young to go up and snowboard.
Well, and we live in what's called, for those people that don't live in the United States, we live in the Rocky Mountains. So they're some of the highest mountain ranges in the world. They're amazing. Colorado has them. They span through a bunch of different states. So you've got
Utah makes the claim that they've got the best snow on earth. So, and it's pretty good. So
yeah, but but we are a desert state, so there's that too. So we don't always get the best snow on earth. Sometimes we have to make the best snow on earth. But yeah. So now he talks about how he's rotating through families every 4th day, right? And so he's going to take Mary on a date. The way that they make it sound in this episode, then the next day he takes Janelle, then the next day, which doesn't seem realistic to me at all, but that's probably not how it was, but that's how the editing made it sound. So they're talking about the way that they're flirting with each other. Cody and Mary have always been good friends. We see that in some of the episodes, but they refer to each other as lover. And I'm wondering if this is why they had the episode taken down, was because who wants to watch your husband on a date with someone else? But she refers to him as lover all day. He refers to her as lover, which I thought was interesting that they did that. They reflect back on their wedding. They talked about how their wedding was, he sang a song for her at their wedding. So they're kind of having this, like, trying to have this intimate connection while they're skiing. And Cody says he's a horrible teacher. And I just thought it was funny because Mary ends up falling, right? That's not fun. That's not the funny part. But they end up in the lodge, and they're sitting there talking about the way that he proposed to her. And they're talking about, and he's like, hey, yeah, you think we should get married? And then he didn't kiss her. This was Christmas Eve, I believe. And then New Year's Eve is the very first time that they ever kissed. And he's like, yeah, I didn't have a lot of romanticness in me. I mean, he only had that one tryst in college, and I'm sure at this point Mary didn't know about that. And so he talks about how he wasn't very proficient in the art of flirting or romancing. And he goes, good thing, Robin got the best of all of it. Dude, what are you doing? You're on a date with your wife and you bring up your other wife. So then Mary makes fun of him, saying, really, you got to bring up Robin on this date? And he's like, I know. It's almost like it's happened a lot. And yeah. And so,
meaning that he said, talk to her about Robin, Christine about Robin, and Janelle about Robin.
it's
who you're comparing us all to. So,
and I think it's sad too. And this happens so frequently. How can you not? This is I think one of the biggest problems with polygamy. How can you not bring up someone that you're madly in love with, or someone that you're angry with? And here you are talking to somebody that you consider is your best friend or one of your best friends, and you're like, oh my gosh, this wife, I'm so in love with her. Oh my gosh, this wife is such a pain in my butt right now. And so it's like, how do you not talk about these things with somebody that you consider that you've had a good friendship with? And I think that's one of the hardest parts about polygamy, is because men don't necessarily stop to think about, oh, hey, what I'm saying might hurt her feelings. He's just thinking, oh, we're friends, let's just talk about it. And he's not expecting her to fix it. He's not expecting her to do anything. But yeah, he goes and mentions that now he's a great romantic now. And Robin benefited from his years of not knowing. And I'm like, you have got to be the densest man to even think that you should talk to another wife about that. But I see that happen all the time. My dad would do that all the time with my mom. My dad would marry someone who'd already been married to someone else. She's recycled. And he'd say, oh, this poor wife, she had to deal with all of these bullshit things from her husband. And my mom's over there like, really? Yeah, you did that to me. And so it's really not wise to talk about other wives to other wives, but it happens all the time. So then they were talking about the fact that when they got married, they made a commitment to each other, an agreement to each other that they were going to live plural marriage. This is very common. It's almost like if you don't have this conversation before you're married, you're setting yourself up for failure. Yeah. Because it's very taught that you should both be on the same page, both be on agreement that yes, you are going to live this way. And
it's almost assumed too, but it is something that you want to have that conversation. We felt like we had to have the opposite conversation.
I was just going to say that.
Didn't assume that the other one would, hey, you know what? I do not want to live polygamy. You're like, nope, I do not want to live polygamy. And so we almost made the opposite agreement before we got together.
Yeah, we made a video about that, about please tell me, please tell me you'll never be a polygamist. And that is because we were very well trained that you have these conversations before you get into a marriage. Now, that doesn't always happen. Some people leave polygamy and then they get married and then they decide they want to go back. And then you've got, you see that in Big Love with Bill and his first wife. They were not a part of the polygamous church at all. And then he decides he wants to go back. That is very, very common. And then in that case, the conversation doesn't typically happen up front. If the girl is smart and it's the guy who's from polygamy, she'll ask about it before. But what were you going to say?
Well, just there's been conversations that said, yeah, we're not going to live polygamy. And then once they get in and have a kid or two, then it's like, well, wait a minute, I am going to live polygamy, sorry. And they're either stuck or then they choose to leave.
Yeah, because then how do you get out of it? You're 2 or 3 kids in. Yeah. Yep. And so I'm glad that they showed that, because that is very, very much taught. They did talk about how hard it is to not see each other for 4 days. Cody says, yeah, now that we're down in Vegas, Mary and I will realize that we haven't seen each other in 4 days. We're like, hey, I haven't, and so that is very hard when you're in this kind of situation, because you can't just share your life with this person all the time. And so, and then they did flashbacks to their wedding, and Cody ends up singing her a song at the wedding. They have their, Cody and Mary were married in April. I was married in June. Right there shortly after them. And they were part of my wedding. I actually went to their wedding.
And that wedding was taken place in the AUB church building.
Yeah.
Because I recognized it from going to church when I was a kid once in a while. So.
Yeah. So their wedding was held in the AUB church building. We kept pausing to see if we recognized people. My mom is very recognizable. You can catch her from behind. because she always did her hair exactly the same way all the time. And so we could catch some of the people that we knew. But of course, this is 34 years ago that this wedding took place. So people look a lot like I looked a lot different. People look a lot different. And then Mary talks about how Cody tries to do nice things for each one of the wives. That's not always the case. I find it admirable when you do find a man who does nice things. Now, whether he truly does the nice things or not, Mary feels that he does. And so.
And probably up to this point, he was trying to do that.
Right.
And all of a sudden, they are noticing that there's a bit of imbalance.
Right.
And so she's like, hey, wait a minute, he does nice things, and we got to start paying attention to that. Almost as a kind of, Cody, make sure you're doing nice things for the other three wives now, too.
Right. And so he's trying to remember, what is it that Mary wanted to do? Oh, I made this promise that I'd take her skiing 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so he's trying to fulfill what that wife would want. And that is awesome, because that doesn't, I mean, honestly, sometimes men are just like, and you see that in the Christmas episode where he's like, oh, I'll just buy one of these for each one of the wives. And then they buy everybody the same thing. And that's just not, you don't feel special. You don't feel individualized. You just feel like you're one of, you're in an assembly line, which basically you are, if you're really honest about it. So then they're talking about, so then they wrap up their date. Now Mary's down and injured with an injured knee. And that's what sucks about this too, is now her child, Leon, is 17 probably at the time. Mary is almost an empty nester. So she's stuck in bed with a bum knee now, and he's got to go take Janelle on a date. And he can't be there to help her and take care of her. So this is true that sister wives can step in and help out, unless you're Robin, and then you always have a reason why you can't. So her kids were sick. She had a legit reason, at least in this case. But
well, that's the interesting part. Later on, you get the communication that Christine wasn't being a good sister wife. Yet in episode 2 of season 4, she's the only one on camera that goes over and talks to Mary and checks in on her.
And helps her and takes her. I think she took her lunch or something.
Yeah. And you don't see Robin. Of course, Robin has her excuses, but probably sitting there going, well, I've got this going on, so the other sister wives need to show up. But I mean, I saw evidence that she was being a good sister wife.
Yeah.
Probably took it down. There's another reason I think they took it down, but so
yeah.
Cody says, because then he goes with Janelle next, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I like this episode because you get to see the dynamics of how each individual relationship is. Cody and Mary are very flirty. They're very, hey, lover, blah, blah, blah. Now you go to Janelle's, and she's very matter of fact, and she's very, kids are the most important. And Cody even says, our love bonded over our children. And so, which is kind of like, I understand that to some degree, but every girl still wants to be romanticized. They still want to be loved and taken care of like that. It's like, it's not just our kids. We're not just good friends. Like, there's still an intimate aspect to it.
Yeah, she wants to see a pair of 6-pack abs every once in a while.
Well, yeah, apparently she only likes him for that. And so they start with Janelle getting the kids off to school. The part that I struggled with is that then she's got to take the older kids to school. They're all single moms. They're basically, I know this is supposed to be an episode about Cody taking each wife on a date, but in my opinion, this is an episode to show you how each mother is a single mother. And then they get taken out on a date ever so often. What, if they're good enough? I don't know. And so what?
No, that's exactly it.
It's ridiculous.
They are single moms raising the kids on their own, or the kids are raising themselves on their own.
Right.
The older ones are helping out to do it because he's busy doing other things, taking care of other family matters, working to make money, or doing his priesthood duties.
Right.
And so he's never there. You see him later on, but he's never at the 3 older wives.
He's not there doing part of the daily duties and responsibilities. And
if he's there, he's napping.
Right. So Janelle's getting her kids up. She's getting them off to school. Then she leaves what appears to be Gabe and Savannah at home alone. And Gabe does not look that old. But she's like, wake up Savannah, get her ready for school, do it nicely. I mean, of course, what brother is going to do that nicely? He's not. So Gabe takes this little doll and he's going to swirly the doll in the toilet. And he's hilarious. Gabe is really funny. He's got a great sense of humor at such a young age. And he tells her, you want to do this way, Savannah? You want your doll to get a swirly over waking up early? And she still never woke up. And at the end, he's like, yeah, still never got her out of bed. But I just think it's sad that these kids I am absolutely all about kids having responsibilities, kids helping out, kids taking care. But when children have to take children to school, because this isn't just for filming this day, this has to be an everyday occurrence. Because even when Cody's home, is he up helping taking kids to school? In my experience, no. At Robin's, he is, because Robin expects that. Janelle doesn't expect that, so she doesn't require it of him.
They've been raising kids for how many years before the show started? So, and he's never shown up in that manner.
Right.
And so Robin has had agreement with him, probably talked, and one of those agreements that he will be there helping raise the kids. So
yeah,
she's keeping him to his word, where the other wives have just been doing it on their own for how many years. So
right.
Together.
Well, and so then they're talking about, so Janelle and Cody are going to go hiking. I mean, here's my experience too. You always have that one wife who doesn't want to be financially a burden on the family. And so you've got this expensive ski trip that Cody's going to take Mary on, an expensive trip that he's taking Christine on. And Janelle just wants to, let's just go hiking. She's very goal oriented. She sees something, she's wanting it. She's up early, she's making it happen. And I mean, I really have a lot of respect for Janelle in the fact that she is goal oriented, but I also struggle with her because she's too independent in a fact that she doesn't require Cody to step in and help. She doesn't require, oh, I've got it. And it's almost like in the Mormon culture, I'm going to classify the entire Mormon culture in this because this is where polygamy came from. It is almost a badge of honor to run yourself into the dirt if you are a woman. I can do it. I got it. And there's not always the teamwork. There's not, and it's like, oh yeah, look at that. I single-handedly raised 12 children on my own. I did blah, 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 blah. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like you're skidding into home base and you're getting put in your coffin with nothing left. And that's the sad part. And I feel like Janelle takes that to a toxic level because it's a badge of honor. It's like, how many more things can I put on my plate before the end of the day? And no, it's okay. I don't need help. I got it. I'm doing it. And so, but then they talk about, they're hiking and they're talking about Janelle and her goals and the kids. There's not a lot of romance there. And Cody makes it very clear. I think Cody is he's very foolish for the way that he talks about his wives on this show. There was never very much romance between Janelle and I. We were just we were just attracted to each other because of the family aspect, the kid aspect, and you can't tell me when she hears that she doesn't feel a little bit of that kind of hurts. What, are you not attracted to me? Are you not, you don't find me a lover? And so that's really, and then they talk about how the kids really bonded them. The kids really, and Janelle does have Cody's oldest child, Logan, who is his son. And then Janelle talks about how they see this ending in, that their relationship is so solid because of their children. They see it ending, them being best friends all the way up until death. And all know how that worked out. That didn't work out very well for them. And so I just think it's foolish of him to refer to her as such a good friend and not as a lover, like he's referring to Mary. Not that he needs to refer to every wife the same, but I think it's foolish to put that out there as if she's not as romantically compatible with him as these other wives are. Let's see. Then they make a joke about how plural marriage is really hard, and Robin pops off with, because all the adults are on the couch, and Robin pops off with, yeah, it's not for amateurs. And then I wrote, says the amateur.
Says the amateur.
So Robin talks that, pops off. Oh yeah, polygamy's not for amateurs. Says the one person on the couch who has not ever lived polygamy. And yes, she was a part of the polygamous group, but yes, her mothers did live in different states. And so was she fully engulfed and immersed in the full experience of polygamy? Probably not.
Especially when at the time she was dating Cody, they were in the ultimate polygamous setup or situation where they're all living in the same house.
Right.
And even they get married and she comes up here and she's not going to move into that house. That's too crowded. So she needs her own place. So starting off, she's separate from the original three wives who've all worked, for the most part, worked out their disagreements. And so she's got herself already separated. And sure, I guess she's got the goal in the long run. She claims she has the goal in the long run to be sitting on porch with her sister wives, but it never happens. She's able to run them all off before it all happens. So
yeah, I thought it was hilarious that the amateur is the one who pops up, and you see the other wives look at her like, really, you're the one who's going to make that comment. And then they're talking about now we go to Cody and Christine, and Cody makes the comment on the couch as well that says the wives talk to each other about their problems. That's not always the case in my experience. Sometimes they do. They'll make jokes. They'll laugh about the husband or the dumb things that he does, and they'll make a sarcastic joke at his expense. That will sometimes happen, but it doesn't always happen where they trust each other enough to go in and say, I'm not getting my needs fulfilled by my husband because of da 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 da. They don't, in my experience, that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, in my experience, it doesn't either. You want to always be saying, oh, the husband and I have the best experience. It creates this envy or yeah, how are you having such a good relationship? How are you doing this so much better? This is where Christine comes in and sits and talks to Mary, and Mary's gives the advice as the first sage wife, the wife who has a lot of the knowledge of basically it was a keep sweet conversation that she was having. If you're bringing problems up to him, he's going to listen, but he's going to want to go to a place where it's more relaxed, it's more calm, stuff like that. And so basically telling Christine that she needs to be less argumentative with Cody and be more sweet like she is.
Keep sweet conversation.
Yeah. And yet the keep sweet wife and the more argumentative wife both get put out to the pasture about the same time. So
it's so true.
It doesn't matter which route you went, you're both getting put out to pasture at the same time because the
non-amateur wife who knows everything that she's doing comes in and takes over.
The best customer wife is taking care of the husband just great. So
right,
they both get the keep sweet when they both get put out at the same time. So
right. Well, and you shift from now Janelle's family and her children to Christine and her children. And you hear Christine say, yeah, they're having a daddy-daughter date at school. And Gwendolyn asks Logan to go because she knows Cody's going to be taking, the other girls, and there's too many. This happens all the time. My brothers were always stepping in where my dad was not there and available. And I never remember going on daddy-daughter dates. No, I don't remember that at all, ever. And so, but there's tons of photos of my sisters. I mean, I'm the oldest. So I do have one other brother from another mother who's older than me, but my younger brothers would always take my sisters on these dates. Yeah, I have an older brother and an older sister from another mom, but I'm my mom's oldest. And so, so that is very common when you shift gears into Christine's house. But yeah, then Christine, she goes and has this whole conversation with Mary on her bed, which I thought was interesting, first of all, because she's in Mary's bedroom. And that's not always common for them. I know Mary's laid up in bed, so there's extenuating circumstances, but it's not always common for sister wives to go into other sister wives' bedrooms. It does happen. It's just not a regular occurrence. So I thought that was interesting that the conversation happened on the bed, and Christine is struggling. She's struggling.
Damn squeaky bed.
Oh my gosh. But Christine does say to Mary, at what point does Cody have to admit that he's part of the problem too? This is one of the things that really frustrates me about polygamy, because it's always about the woman correcting herself. It's very, very seldom about the man ever saying, you know what, I might have been wrong in here too. I might need to fix this in me too. It's always about the woman needs to correct herself. And I would just love genuinely one time to see a polygamous man genuinely say to a wife, I'm sorry that I did that. I was wrong. I'm being the argumentative one.
Well, because usually they are being corrected, or if they need to be corrected, it's by their priesthood leaders.
Right.
So
yeah, you don't get corrected by your wife. Yeah. You get corrected by your priesthood leaders. And that's part of the chain of command, if you will. And Christine says to Mary, so what, is everything just one-sided? And Mary says, yes. So in one of the last videos that we did, I talked about accountability. We want accountability. That's one of the biggest things that's lacking in our nation today. But there can be toxic accountability too. And I feel like sister wives take toxic levels of accountability, because it's like, again, when Christine says, so you're telling me this is all one-sided? And Mary says, yes. Get yourself right. Get yourself in alignment. Get yourself right with God, with your leadership, with whatever. And then you can be happy. And it doesn't matter what he does. So he can go on, and I hate using the word narcissist, but he can have narcissistic tendencies, and that's okay. I feel like the word narcissist gets thrown around and it gets overly used, and it's not always appropriate, but we can all have narcissistic tendencies. And I feel like these men have these tendencies, and it's overlooked, and it's okay. And then they go into their buddy meeting because, they go to their priesthood head for their correction. And they're like, all right, we got you, bud. You're okay. Just be nicer to her, please. Mm-hmm. And then that's really kind of how the discipline will happen. And I have mentioned this in other videos. I was afraid when I left the polygamous group the first time because of my ex-husband. I was like, who's going to make him do what he's supposed to do? Because he won't listen to me. And he doesn't respect me enough to actually do what he's supposed to do or be integrable in any way. So who's going to make him do this if we leave the church? He won't have leadership that I can tattletale on him and they can make him do the right thing.
That's a toxic way to have a marriage and or relationships.
Right. And so then it's just like, Christine asks Mary, are you guys having problems like this? And then like apologizes right away. Sorry if that's too personal. I feel like they made this whole show called Sister Wives, but they really didn't go into the dynamics of what happens between sister wives. And again, they don't. So up here at the top of my page, well, you can't see my page, but up at the top, it says Cody talks about the wives talk to each other about their problems. And yet Christine asks Mary and then instantly backpedals and says, is that too personal? So they don't really get that intimately involved with each other's problems like that, because you don't want to be the sister wife who is constantly in sadness with your husband, who is constantly in frustration with your husband, while your other sister wives out there, like, we're having a great time. It's party every night. It's backyard barbecues. We're having a wonderful time. He loves the hell out of me. What's your problem? Because then you take it personally and it becomes, what's wrong with me? Why isn't my relationship just as happy as her relationship? What am I doing wrong? Instead of, hey, maybe this is a joint effort. Maybe he should show up a little bit more. I could show up a little bit more. But Mary's advice to her, which I think is horrible advice, she says, when you're with him, just have fun. Just have a good time. And yes, I agree to that to some extent. But in sister wives cases, that's hard because you only see him every 4 days. So how do you truly heal something? When you and I have something, you might frustrate me and I'm like not ready to talk about it. And so I'm like, give me a couple hours, but now my time is over. So now I got to wait 4 more days to remember how I felt about that right then. And so there's no way to really heal. And so then it's like he goes away for 4 days and then comes back. You got yourself right yet? Because I want to spend time with you, but only if you are in the right space. And so then it's like nothing ever really gets healed. And he never, yeah. And then he never has to be accountable for his part of it. You always have to be accountable as the wife because, hey, I'm here to spend time with you. Do you want to have a good time or a bad time? It's up to you. Really? That's how it's addressed. So I think that it's good that Mary is as accountable as she is. That part I admire because not all sister wives are, not all polygamous women are accountable. And so I don't want to discount the level of accountability that she's being. I think it's really amazing that she is because not every woman wants to look at it. They want to look at it like my relationship's not working because of her. My relationship's not working because he'd rather spend time with her than he would with me. Okay, so what's going on? And so I do appreciate Mary's level of accountability here. And Mary and Mary saying, well, if he doesn't want to be around me, I want to reevaluate what's happening in our relationship. But this is where it can get tricky because then again, toxic accountability. It's like, well, if he doesn't want to be around me and he wants to be around her, do I need to be her? And then you change your entire personality to be her, to be your sister wife and not be yourself. So there's so many layers of dynamics to the sister wife relationship that I wish that they would have gone deeper into in so far. And maybe they do in later episodes and we just haven't seen it, but they haven't thus far.
Well, she's wanting to be friends with Robin too. She feels like she's got a better relationship with Robin at this point in time. And so it's almost like she's telling Christine, but also kind of putting her in line. Hey, you need to get right with Cody. You need to be more happy when he comes around if you want to have a good relationship. You're the problem. Look at Robin and I. We're having a great relationship. So
well, and then Mary, it comes down to Christine's like, yeah, I still have a problem with the way Cody dated Robin. And Mary's like, wait,
gotta get over that.
If that's still a problem. And she's like, yeah, I don't blame her. This man drove 4 to 5 hours out of town and left his family for weekends to go date this other woman in another city. That's got to be with a wife with a brand new baby. And I don't blame her for feeling that way. Who wouldn't feel abandoned if you were having a brand new baby? So, and the fact that he never wants to just sit down and get to the root of the problem, because he's, well, adios, I'll be gone to the other wives. You work through that. And when I get, because I'm okay with the way that I dated Robin. If you're not okay with the way that I dated Robin, sounds like you have a problem, not me. So you need to fix that. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
You got a personal problem.
It's a personal problem because I didn't do anything wrong. So wait a minute, you didn't do it by the book that you did with us, the rest of us. You changed the rules, probably what you put there. You changed the rules on how dating was happening, and but his idea is I didn't do anything wrong. I kept within the boundaries of what the AUB.
I stretched them all the way to the very end, but yeah.
I kept within the boundaries of the AUB's thing.
Right.
So wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And so you'll just have to get over it. I was following the rules to the T with you, but I stayed still within the boundaries with Robin. So.
Well, and that's the thing. They never actually have to heal these relationships. And the reason that they don't is because they're locked in. They're locked and loaded for eternity. There is no way that these relationships are just going to implode.
Because she has to get herself right if she's going to be in harmony with him to make it into heaven. He does not have to get himself right with her because he's on his way to heaven right now. And so she just needs to line up and get in line behind him and follow his lead and his rule. So that's the teaching. That's kind of the idea. If you get in line, I'm not having a problem with jealousy because I feel like it's disgusting to even talk about jealousy. I shouldn't have to have this jealousy conversation. So
right. And so this, I feel like the Christine and Mary, I felt like it was a very sweet conversation between the two of them. I love to see that friendship because I always remember them being good friends. And so I liked to see that aspect of it, but it disheartened me to see the keep sweet aspect of it. It's like we never talk about the problems because there's no reason to, because you're locked in for eternity, and just keep sweet. This conversation between Christine and Mary is the epitome of keep sweet. And it just makes me sick to see it, because it again invalidates a woman, again invalidates her feelings, again she doesn't matter. And then they talk about, Cody just says, yes, what I loved about Christine is the lightness in life that we brought with each other. She just has a lightness in life because, she wants to be happy. So they go paintball gun shooting, and then he takes her on a helicopter ride. So I do appreciate that he does try to be specific to what he thinks that she will like. But again, this comes back to the narcissistic tendencies that I was saying. Now, I'm not accusing Cody of being a narcissist. I'm just saying that he has some tendencies, because then what he does is it love bombing, and that's what they do. So you might be upset that he's love bombed you, and I've already said I'm sorry. You need to just get over this. What's wrong with you? So he talks about the lightness in life that he had with her. He also, which I find very funny, talks about having a lightning bolt with Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's why they took this one down.
Because why? Because Robin stole Christine's story? Yeah, is that what it? Is that what it was?
He felt a bolt of energy, and I'm like a lightning bolt.
Yeah, that he was in love with her.
Cody says he was in love with Christine.
Yeah. So. Now, obviously, if you've read the book, we're now reading the book. We hear Christine's other side of that, which I tend to lean more towards her side of what happened in the story. But Cody goes on to say that Christine gave them some stability, because Mary and Janelle did not get along at all. And Christine came in and made things lighter and made friends with Mary and Janelle. Now, Christine didn't know Janelle. None of us really knew Janelle in the Polygamous group. Even though she married Mary's brother, who I did know, they left the Polygamous group, or they were in the mainstream Mormon church. But so Cody does talk about how he appreciated Christine for that. Then I think they're at ice cream afterwards, and Christine starts apologizing to Cody for her behavior. I wanted to lose my mind, because, and I have done this now too. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to. I have done this sometimes when I didn't feel like that I was in the wrong, or that my feelings were invalid, but I just didn't want to fight anymore. And I haven't really had to do that in our relationship, but in my first marriage, I had to do that, because he would literally throw me on complete ignore until I apologized, until I made things right. And it's like, do I want to go on being this miserable forever? No, let's just, so then I apologize.
She kept sweet.
Right, I did. I kept sweet. You wouldn't guess that now, but I did. And so then she tells Cody, Mary called me to the carpet and told me all, and my mind is exploding as I'm watching this scene, because she just wants to be in love. She just wants somebody to love her the way that she watches Cody love Robin. And that's all she's asking for. So she's trying anything she can do to get that affection from him. And this man is just, oh, well, I'm glad you saw the error of your ways. Oh, I'm so grateful that Mary helped our relationship out. Just go ahead and keep sweet forever, sweetheart, and then we'll get along just fine. What are you saying?
No, then he was instantly like, okay, good. You're changing. You're stepping in line. So
yeah, I had 3 full pages on this episode.
Tap on the head. So
right, it's like patting her on the head and good job. And then you walk away, and there's this underlining resentment that's growing, because you just feel invalidated, unheard, and unjustly dealt with, because you're just like, why don't you apologize for but what Mary said was true. It is an inside job. Mm-hmm. It is a one-way street. If I'm the one having the problem, I'm the one that needs to figure out how to heal that. Also, that's not always how that works in a relationship.
Well, ultimately it did, because then she found value in herself, found, well, wait a minute, you're right, and I deserve a fairy tale ending, love, all of that stuff. And so she stepped out of her speedway, freeway cruise
out of her lane
to heaven, and got off an exit, risking hell to find that love, that earthly desire, as they would say in the AUB. But she got off that line and said, no, I'm worth more than this. I'm going to find somebody who loves and cares about me. And it shocks your system because you're basically getting you knew you were on this path to heaven, and now you're risking salvation.
You're literally risking hell. Yeah. What are you doing?
To have the same relationship and to feel worth value for yourself. So
and that's the thing. Amazing. That's why Cody feels so done wrong by Christine. You made an eternal commitment. I mean, I've been divorced 25 years. My ex-husband still feels done wrong because I said enough is enough. I won't be treated like this anymore. I'll go out and find a relationship that fulfills me the way I want to be fulfilled. Thanks for doing that, by the way. So now we shift to Robin. Now, so many of you guys, whenever I give Robin any grace at all, I always get a ton of comments about it. I am going to give her grace in this. I'm sorry if you get upset. I totally understand. I even got chastised by my mom, who says she feels like I give Robin too much grace.
I'll let her give the grace. So
I know, but because I know how that feels to be in that position, that's why I guess I can feel. So Robin's taking care of sick kids. So she doesn't necessarily get to go out on a date because she's taking care of sick kids. Now, she more than makes up for that at other times. Believe me, I understand that. But she's got a sick baby. It sounds like their kids have RSV or, something to that effect. But she's basically a single mom taking care of a sick newborn and sick children. All of her kids are coughing. They're all hacking. And so Robin starts talking about how she can't go help Mary. She can't do all these things because she's got sick kids. And so I feel for Robin in that moment because I did watch my mom be a single mom with sick children. I myself felt like a single mom with sick children. And so I feel that empathy for her, that she had to go through those experiences alone. Like, I mean, when we had our first child together, you were so hands-on all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd have 10 kids with this man. I mean, we didn't, but going from doing it 100% on my own to now all of a sudden, I don't have to get up every single time during the nighttime. And it's that nighttime stuff that just kills you during the day when you're exhausted. So she talks about Robin is getting ready for her date. She's changing the baby. She's talking about her kids. But she makes a comment in there that says, sometimes you get a mean or a bad sister wife.
And luckily
and that's didn't. Where my grace went out the window.
And luckily she didn't. No, the other wives got that sister wife. So.
And they won't go up and help somebody sick. They won't go and help a wife with sick children. And so I just thought that was interesting when she made that comment. So she's the amateur making the not amateur comment. And then she talks about getting a bad sister wife. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Robin talks to Cody about wanting to go dancing. She's like, maybe when the kids are better and we can go on a real date night. And this is what kills me about this situation. Here's where all my grace went out the window. I'm going to get a date night right now. We're just going to go out to dinner, maybe sit a movie, but I'm going to get a rain check. I'm going to get a better date night later because I have sick kids right now. And so I feel like that's Robin's way of always just getting a little bit more than everyone else does. Like, if you can't do it right now because your kids are sick, put it off and do it later. But why do you get 2 date nights when everyone else gets 1? And maybe it's because of TLC's filming and their timing. Maybe that's why they had to do it. But you dang well bet she got a second date night on that, off that deal. So she talks about wanting to go dancing. And that is a huge part of the AUB culture, is dances. And it is one of the biggest things that I miss. I miss that community. I miss the fun, I don't know why you didn't like them. You're so good at dancing.
Because everybody was there looking for another wife.
So, and all these old men were stealing all your prospects?
No, I wasn't looking for a wife. It was family there. So everybody was too closely related. Why would I want to go to a family dance to look for prospects? I would rather go do something else date-wise. So,
but you're so good at dancing too. So But I understood how she, she was talking a little bit nostalgic about it. And I do. I remembered the dances. I wasn't related to everybody. So.
Well, yeah, I know.
But all the old guys did want to dance with me.
When everybody from Utah would come up and do the dance, then that's when we'd go to the dances. But we weren't going to dances like you guys were.
Yeah, because in Utah, there's a lot more AUB members than there are in Pinestale. And it is true. Pinestale does tend to, there's a lot of family out there. But Robin talks about this, about they're at dinner. And she makes the comment about, remember how we met at the dance? And she's like, you looked right at me, and you got, or she goes, I got a lightning bolt when you looked right at me. And so here, I feel like that's in direct contradiction to the things that we're hearing now about how her and Cody met. So it feels confusing.
Even in the because Cody's mentioning when he met Christine, he got a lightning bolt, and she's like, well, I want that lightning bolt story. And so she's telling the lightning bolt story that she felt the lightning bolt when he looked at her at the dance. And so,
because Cody's the one who said he had a lightning bolt towards Christine. Yeah.
And so all of a sudden I'm like, that's why they took down this episode, because it's got the two lightning bolt stories kind of glaring at each other. So who stole whose lightning bolt? Well, it sounded like, since they did it earlier. So
yeah. No, it's true. Well, and then Cody says, well, his initial reaction towards Robin was, his exact words are, oh no, she's divorced. And he didn't want to even give her a second look or a second thought, because she was divorced with children. Corey felt the same way. I was divorced with 3 kids when we got together, and he was like, yeah, I'm not marrying somebody who's divorced or already has kids. But
it wasn't.
I won your heart over, huh?
You did. It wasn't that at all. It was I had certain ideas of, I didn't want to marry within the AUB.
Right.
I didn't want to marry somebody that had been in a relationship. I was still young, or that had got divorced and had kids. Those were so I was looking everywhere else, and then you came along, and I'm like, yeah, she violates every one of my rules, but I'll date her. So I started dating an AUE member, a council member's daughter, divorced, and had kids. So
look at the great life we have. It was
great.
Yeah, I'm glad we did it. But I just think it's funny that was his first initial reaction. And again, this is kind of where you're like, Cody, at least he doesn't say that he just looks at her as like a friend, because now they have a deep romance. And then he turns to her and says, but I would never give up this like electricity or this buzz that we have between each other. And we'll say that to each other, but as like a joke, like we're being, like, but we'll say it to each other, not on camera. But I just thought it was funny the way he interacted with Robin, and it feels confusing based on what they're saying then and now what they're saying now, in the way that they're explaining how they met each other now. So Robin,
it's a blatant
contradiction
to what their narrative is they want now. So that part is why I was like, this is why this episode is down, is because it's in a blatant contradiction to their new love story.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They had to take it down so it wasn't on air for everybody to easily get a hold of. So.
Right. And this is where I'm going to give Robin a little bit more grace. So bear with me for a minute. I know he's going to shake his head. Because do I think she was right in doing what I'm about to explain? No, I don't think she was right. But she did it, in my opinion. And so Robin asks Cody if he wants to have more children. And he gets offended. She's like, and she tells him, it's not that I think that you don't have the ability to have more children. I just want to know if you have the capacity to have more children. And in my opinion, no, he clearly couldn't. He clearly didn't have that capacity, based on results and based on where they're at now.
Well, he's a really good father to his 2 youngest children, right?
Right.
In her eyes.
Right. So, well, and then Cody,
until they're disobedient, so then he'll treat them just like he's treated the older kids. So,
well, then
see how disobedient they become.
Here's where I'm giving her grace. Robin told Cody her expectations. If I'm going to have more children with you, if we're going to do this, then these are my expectations. And he promised he could do that. He promised he could deliver that for her. And so where Robin looks like the bad guy is she made Cody keep his word. She made him do what he said he would do. So she agreed to have more children with him under certain circumstances. Now, do I think that was right of her to do that? Not when she knew that it would take away from the other wives and the other children. And she knew that what she was requiring of him to have more children with him would take away from that family. That's very manipulative. So what she did there was extremely manipulative, but he did make a promise and he did do that, and she required him to keep it. And that's where she's turned into the bad guy.
Here's the reason it's manipulative, is because she has been claiming from the very beginning that she is marrying into a family.
Right.
A family, a husband, and 3 sister wives. And yet she's having conversations with Cody of her expectations. She's not having those same conversations with the other 3 sister wives.
And that's true.
And the other 3 sister wives married young with him and didn't have this expectation. She's been through a divorce. She now knows what she expects.
And I think she's 30 something.
Yeah, and wants in a marriage. The other wives still don't even have a clue what they want in a marriage because they haven't seen anything other than they've been in. And so she comes in with expectations. She's talking to Cody to get those expectations, but not the other 3 wives, because they'd be like, well, wait a minute, that's not fair.
Yeah.
She comes in having him keep his word to her to do whatever it is. And yet the other wives are seeing that he is showing up in a different way. He's helping her out. He's doing dishes. He's doing stuff that he's never had to do in the other 3 marriages. And they're going, hey, we would like that too. And he's like, no,
too bad you don't get it.
You don't get it. That's the problem right there.
It's true. And that is very true. That is 100% true. I absolutely agree with that. And I do feel the way that Robin did that was very manipulative, because this was already an established family. They already had established rules that they were following, or guidelines, or family culture. And she's coming in and she says at the very beginning of the show that she wanted to be a part of this family culture, but then she comes in and tries to change everything about the family culture.
Yeah.
And
why isn't she talking to him about doing that in every one of their marriages?
Well, because honestly, that goes back to what Mary was saying. That goes back to what Mary was saying. That's on you. That's on Christine. If Christine wants that, then she needs to make sure that her expectations are known to Cody and that he has to do that. But she's not. And here Robin knows how men in polygamy are. She knows they're not involved. She knows that they're absentee fathers. She knows that they're not. And so she's making sure that she gets a commitment. What did he say in that episode where he was like, this sacred covenant that I made to you? So Robin knows these things. And so she requires that he makes this sacred covenant to her before she agrees to have more children with him. And so, yes, I think she's very manipulative, but I think she's also very calculated in the fact that she knows how polygamous men are, and she's not going to have any of that. She's not going to tolerate that. So she's going to make sure that she makes him promise and then so this is where I'm giving her grace. She's requiring him to keep his word. Most women do not, in the AUB or in polygamy in general, ever require their husband to keep their word. Ever. You're required as a woman to keep your word, but the man is never required to keep his word. And if he breaks his word to you as a woman, you don't get to call him out on that, because you're not his leader. So you don't get to tell him that he needs to follow up and that he needs to keep his word. His priesthood leaders will do that for him. You can say it to him all day, but it really it has no effect. So that's where I guess I'm not giving Robin grace as much as I understand where she's coming from, because she didn't want to agree to go into a situation. And you're right. It's because she's older. She has already been through this BS once, and she knows what it's like to get divorced, and she doesn't want to do it again.
Yep.
So, and these girls married young. Christine was 19. Mary was 19. Janelle, I think, was a little bit older. but still they were naive in what they expected. And Robin didn't want to go in being naive. And again, this is where I might regret saying this because Corey's going to be over here like, I'm right. And then I'm going to have to live with that all day. But she learned from her mom. Her mom was divorced and got remarried. And I'm sure her mom gave her a list of expectations. You make him promise this, you make him promise that, and then you make him keep his word. And that's where polygamous women fall off the ladder. They don't ever make their husbands keep their word. And that's where, and so these men, so these men are full of entitlement and full of, like, I'm the big cheese and no one can tell me anything otherwise. So anyways, that's my 2 thoughts on Robin. But then we end the episode with birthdays, and they're talking about double birthdays. Mary has a birthday with Dayton. I'm so curious how that went in the background, because when a favorite wife has birthdays on another wife's birthday, it is bad business. And that has happened in our family. And it's like, I know that it's not, Mary was the favorite wife. There's no doubt about that before Robin came along. But now you've got Robin's firstborn child with that same birthday. I'm so curious how those birthdays went down.
This is why you don't marry twins in the polygamous group.
Right?
That's bad news.
Right. How do you celebrate that? And so
every other year.
Right. I have a little sister. Her birthday wasn't on the favorite wife's birthday, but it was the day before. My dad was never home on her birthday because he was always taking that wife out of town for her birthday. So I can only imagine the behind the scenes with Mary and Dayton and the problems that caused with Robin. So then we go to Cody saying that how he keeps up with his children. We're all at this family birthday party. How he keeps up with his children is through social media. And so it's funny because they're not on social media now, but back then it sounds like they were big, huge social media presence, and we didn't follow them back then, so we don't really know. But he gets super emotional about this picture about Madison and Saul together. She had posted a picture of the two of them, and he gets really emotional because he's seeing that their families are blending and the kids are starting to love each other. And I felt it really sad and kind of disgusting, to be honest, that Robin says we were never accepted by the Brown family. We were voted off the Brown family island. We were never accepted. And yet you have Cody on here getting emotional and crying, like tears welling up because Madison posts a picture of her and Saul together.
Showing that they were accepted.
Showing that they were loved and accepted.
Again, change of narrative. You got to change the narrative and remove any evidence of her new story. So
right.
Her new story is they were never loved and voted off whatever island. So
and so I just think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting because there is proof out there that these children did love each other, that these children did fully accept Robin's kids and fully accepted Robin into the family. And then Cody gives Mary a trip to Mexico. And what I thought was interesting was she was so excited because that's what he gave her for her birthday, was a trip to Mexico. She's so excited, and they have a strict rule about no PDA in front of each other. And Cody walks right over while she's holding Robin's newborn.
No, he's robbing. He's holding.
Oh, was Cody holding?
Cody was holding Saul.
Oh, he was?
Yeah,
oh, and I thought Cody, or I thought Mary was holding.
Leg.
Oh, okay, you're right. I did write that down. And kisses Mary. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. Some of the emotions that might have brought up.
Thank you so much for putting Christina in line.
That's probably what it was. Yeah, thanks for saving my relationship with Christine, by the way.
For the moment.
Yeah. And then Cody turns around to the cameras and says, this isn't easy, and it definitely is not made for amateurs. Polygamy is hard. It's not an easy way to live. And that's how we end the episode. So this episode was definitely a lot. There was a lot of stuff going on in here. But I think there was a lot of evidence to prove that Robin's family was loved and her children were loved. And I don't know. I can see why they probably took this episode. I can see multiple reasons why they took this episode off air. So we will get on
It
to
messes with their newest narrative. So
yeah, it's true. When I ended it with 3 pages and we literally had to watch this stupid episode on TikTok, 3 minutes at a time, and then we just scrolled to the next video and scrolled to the next video. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? This is a straight up insanity. But at the end of the episode, we were like, oh my gosh, there's so much content in there.
Yep.
So we will get going on the next episode for you guys and get that one uploaded right away. And thank you guys so much for joining us, and let us know what you guys think in the comments, and watch for we're going to be doing book club on Christine's new book every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This Tuesday we'll be going through 6 through 10, chapter 6 through 10. So make sure you join us on that. All right. Thank you guys.
Do we want to talk about that?
Oh, what do you want to say about it?
Just our daughter got us theme music, and it was amazing. And so we've got a new computer, so we're going to try to end our episode with a little bit of our channel's theme. So.
Yeah, we did. She wrote us a song, and we haven't figured out how to like add it to our videos. And our old computer was very, very old. It was like 10 years old. It was just a hand-me-down. Was it 16 years old?
16 in this.
Oh my gosh. So over the weekend, we got a new computer. Well, a new used computer. We're not by any means in a position to buy a new computer right now. So you want to see if we can play this?
Yep.
I don't know if it'll play, but we'll go ahead and try to add it here. Do we have to leave the video on the whole time? Mm-hmm. We're just going to sit here and like look at it. Let's see. Let's see if it'll play. If not, we're not sitting here. It's 5 minutes long, so we're not going to just sit here and smile at you while it plays for 5 minutes. Nope, we can't hear it.
In the shadows of a past we've known, 2 souls lost,
no?
But we found out.
Okay, we're figuring it out. We're taking editing classes right now. As you can tell, we don't edit a lot because we just don't know what we're doing. There's so many steps to this whole podcasting thing, or whole talking and making videos. Like, first of all, you got to get the kahunas to even get up here and make a video, and then content and material to know what you're talking about, and then editing on top of all of that. So you guys,
we might just see if we can add it and have it be a black screen. So
yeah, if not, I have figured out how to do it on my Mac, and I can add it on my Mac, and we can rotate through photos on it. And so we definitely want to start using this song at the beginning of our videos and at the end of our videos when we become editing masters. So thank you guys so much.
Let us know what you think in the comments. Give us a thumbs up and a like. We like.
Oh yeah, subscribe, and share our videos if you find what we have to say relevant.
Yeah.
Thank you.